What took you so long? Your job never stopped you before. That is besides the point right now. The reason why I sent you a message asking you to come over is... Don't rush me. I need your help. Curb your excitement. The only reason why I'm asking you to help is because Nova is currently studying for her own exams. Yes, that's the only reason. Don't say sure as if you know anything else. Just... I've been trying my best to study on my own for the past 2 hours now, but no matter what I seem to do, I keep making careless errors, and that is not something I can afford. So, I assumed that perhaps I could benefit from another presence, even one as bothersome as you. But what? Of course, that's what you're getting at. What is it that you would even want from me? I don't exactly have a surplus of your preferred desires at the ready. Then what did you have in mind? You want to spend Halloween with me. That's your big bargaining token? Why do you want to do that in the first place? Don't say stuff like that. People will assume the wrong thing. What that means is I'm willing to agree to your terms, but I have a few stipulations of my own. What's that supposed to mean? Predictable? I am no... Actually, yeah, I do tend to stick with a routine for the most part. Whatever, stop distracting me, please. As I was saying, these are my terms of agreement. Number 1, you can come see me again if we actually make progress tonight. I'm not going to reward you for merely showing up. This isn't like a participation trophy. Number 2, I can't promise Halloween. That's on a Monday, and I will be busy with classwork. I'm not willing to compromise there. However, I can do the Sunday prior. Is that reasonable? Number 3, most importantly, do not spoon feed me information. I need to work for my success, and it doesn't help if you coddle me. If all of those work for you, then I can agree to your request. It is not a date. This is not a date. We're studying. I'm studying. A study date would require mutual learning, don't you think? And it's still not a date. If anything, I can't imagine you taking anyone on a date. I just can't. Outside of maybe you whining and dining someone as a part of the lead up to feeding, I don't see you as the type. For your information, I have been on a handful of dates in the past. I'm not claiming to be an expert in any regards. All I'm doing is calling out what I see as a lacking reputation. If anything, you jumping to your defense so fervently further proves my point. Now then, we should stay focused. I have to study differentiation of dynamicism. You would think that being a derivative myself, I'd be better equipped at memorizing this. However, most of the information eludes me. I mean, I may have had my anchor established for far longer than I was aware, but to my knowledge, I never would have been first classified as a dynamic. What do you mean, start from the top? My understanding of a dynamic is that they are vivified humans with anchors to unspecified magic types. That's not to say they're incapable of practicing magic of various kinds, but it's different than if you examine the field of a vivified non-dynamic. I'm confused about how a dynamic becomes another classification. The notes I took down said, "Hey, what are you doing?" There's no such thing as too focused. Give me back my notes. What do you think taking my notes is going to accomplish right now? I am not. I'm retaining the information fine. I suppose you were invited to help. Can I at least have my notes back so they don't get wrinkled? Thank you. All right. What is your brilliant idea for helping me drill this information into my head? I barely understand the information myself. How do you expect me to teach it to you? But what if I don't catch the mistakes you say? Yes, but what about... I'm trying my best to relax. Sorry. You can start whenever you're ready. This is ridiculous. Fine, I will go along with this. Firstly, dynamics can become more than only derivatives. There have been instances of dynamics becoming derivatives, divinators, and tailors primarily. Technically, a dynamic can become a vampire, but that's different. You're not really differentiating, you're getting turned. You're a terrible actor. I hope you know that. Keep going, please. Don't ruin this. There's no way you're actually trying to trip me up. Make it harder. Dynamics are capable of all kinds of magic. There are dynamics who are just as, if not more powerful than other vivified classifications. Usually, the only exception to this is compared to the magic practiced by specific classifications. For example, it's unlikely that a dynamic would be able to surpass my abilities in water derivative magic. Is that a satisfactory correction for you? That depends on what it is you want to do. Why my hand? Can't you explain it using your own? That sounds like a forged excuse. But fine, yes, you can use my hand. Here. Why is my hand a dynamic? Fine, yes, my hand is a dynamic. Continue. Okay, so what does each finger represent in this scenario? And that would exclude dynamics since you can't be born that way. Wait, that's wrong? What did I mess up? So you can be born a dynamic? But what about when vivification happens later on? Okay, so regardless of being born a dynamic or becoming vivified later, there's still an initial anchoring. Am I correct so far? Okay, then what's next? Why are we switching to the thumb next? Alright, the thumb represents... And that's different because as a dynamic, you can potentially experience a secondary anchoring. Okay, so what are the three fingers in the middle for? Derivatives, divinators, and tailors, respectively. That one's simple. Most derivatives, whether previously a dynamic or not, anchor because of a connection to their representative element. That looks different for everyone, but is always present. Admittedly, this is the one I can never get right. I don't want to try if I'm going to get it wrong. Okay. A dynamic becomes a divinator when the anchor reaches out to them. What did I miss? So if you're born a divinator, it's innate. But a dynamic who becomes one would have to trigger the anchor to reach out to them first. Okay, but wait, for tailors, if I remember correctly, there is no known trigger that causes the secondary anchoring. Theories aren't very helpful right now. But I think that your silly hand aid is somewhat clever. Oh, I am not saying it again, you asshole. How do you even know so much about all of this? I can hardly envision Face Department workers as readily disclosing such information. But you do have a way of bringing that kind of thing out of people, so I'm not surprised. I didn't compliment you, I'm just stating a fact. Hey, let me have my hand back for a second. Well, now, if I have some clarity about what I was mixing up, I can focus my efforts on my other classwork. I still need to make flashcards for my advanced magical history exam. I've been putting it off for as long as possible. You want to help? Don't you have something better to do? Shut up. You're just saying that to get me to smile or whatever. I have index cards in one of the drawers in my nightstand. Let's start there and see if you're any good at following directions. Go already, please. I swear, it's a miracle I can do anything with them around.